Hey guys, I'm Board Gamer and welcome to a brief video on the RX480 graphics card. Thank you so much to Overclockers UK for providing me with this RX480 sample from Sapphire. They are my preferred component provider when I'm shilling, when I'm not using eBay myself, so I will happily shill for them. That said, I will still give my accurate, honest opinions on any product. If you don't like it, don't send me free stuff to review. I've been messing around with the card for a while, and it's pretty much a Nvidia GTX 970 or AMD 390X in performance when it comes to games. I don't really like synthetic benchmarks because, cards can be geared towards them, and in games, that's what we're after. We're after a card for games. It carries a really nice price point, brand new, $200 to $250. For me, that's around £175 to £230, based on whether you go for the 4GB or 8GB versions. If you're wanting to go 1080p or 1440p res-wise, then the 4GB version is just fine. If you're wanting to go to that 8GB for 4K, you want to do 4K res, the card doesn't really have enough power to make it worthwhile for gaming experience. You'd consider having to run 2 and that sort of thing, and then we're looking at different cards anyway when you're looking at that kind of price point. So you'd have to run games really for 4K in low or medium settings on a single one to get playable frames. Not something I'd want to do. At the time of writing, there does also seem to be a bit of price inflation and adjustment that's going on with the RX480s, so it's probably worth waiting a few days before buying one if it's your thing. Now, some of the specs and requirements of the card: you do obviously need a 16 times PCI Express lane, you need a 350 watt PSU or greater. It only seems to consume 110 watts of power. That is a super low power consumption, and because of this, it only requires one 6-pin adapter to plug in from your power supply. So you can use a SATA to 6-pin adapter from your SATA power to your 6-pin, so you can power the graphics card if you don't have a 6-pin on your very old PSU, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. DisplayPort wise, it has one HDMI and 3 display ports. Length, it is just over 24 centimeters long, which is 242 millimeters for those of you that are concerned. I do think that some of the aftermarket cards will be able to cut 4 to 5 centimeters off that as well. Benchmark-wise, it's very comparable to the 970, almost identically so. For VR, I can't tell the difference on VR games on my Vive when compared to my GTX 1080. The 480 has so much potential for VR. It's got those asynchronous compute engines, which basically make it punch above its class for VR. And this might change in the future when VR games get a bit more oomph or scalability to them, but at the moment where VR is targeted, the RX480 is the VR card for price to performance. AMD FreeSync technology is supported by the card, and if you've got a FreeSync monitor, and you can grab these FreeSync monitors really cheaply now, so like $100, £100 kind of area to get quite good monitors, that combined will give you a alternative to VSync. So rather than having your frame rate or your hertz rate limited by VSync, you won't get stuttering or tearing. You'll just get very, very silky kind of displayed graphics at the frame rates, at the hertz rates that they were intended with FreeSync. Really, really great thing. And yeah, if you can afford to get a monitor or you have a monitor that supports it, it's definitely well worthwhile. So the card can obviously be overclocked, but there's new curves and graphs and lots of weird stuff. And because I'm basically on the reference design, I was able to squeeze just a little bit more performance out of it without knowing really how the software worked. 5 or 6% more. I couldn't work out how to unlock the voltage, even if that's a thing on this card. But whatever, there wasn't anything super impressive I could do with the overclock at the moment. I would suggest waiting for custom boards if your overclocking is your thing. You might even be able to get them cheaper. The new overclocking software, though, is quite powerful. It looks like it can give you a lot of control over the card. And again, we'll look at that in a later video when we actually have custom boards. Because if I can overclock something, then anyone can, even my mother. Issues encountered, though. So it is a great mid-range card. It's probably the best price point card I've ever seen. But I did encounter some issues personally. My scrapyard and budget build PCs that I've made out of server parts and workstations don't like it. So this could be a driver issue. I doubt AMD released the card with the intention of it working with my Dell T3500 workstation in mind. But if you're making a server or budget workstation build, exercise caution. That's all I'm saying there. Hopefully they will fix it in the future though with a driver update or something, but I was getting code 43s on pretty much every system I tried it from, if it was a workstation or server. It is a great card, but not as amazing as the super hyped press releases that we've had. It has done a few things to the industry, though. It's dropped the value of comparable or less powered cards than it. So 970s are going to be dropping in price. The 300 series of R9 cards are also going to be dropping in price, whether they're second-hand or brand new. It's good news for everyone if you wanted to get a more powerful gaming PC. It's got that asynchronous compute for VR gaming. It's a great single card solution for VR. I also think with DirectX 12, we're going to see some great bang for buck with this card. And if you're going to be dual carding, we're going to see some great multi-card compatibilities with this. It's going to be using split frame rendering, and we'll check this out in more detail in a future video or when more games at least support it. I feel that this card might be really well suited in old first or second generation i5 or i7 PCs with the correct size PCI Express slot, at least Gen 2 really. I think it'll probably bottleneck at Gen 1 now. It's going to bring some life back into that system without bottlenecking your CPU or GPU, or vice versa, at 1080p. In fact, I think this is a great idea. Nice budget computing. For me, I would literally prefer, if I had to choose between cards, the RX480, the R9 390X, or the GTX 970, whatever was cheapest on eBay secondhand at the time. And the 4GB cards are totally fine by me. I just want 1080p at the highest frame rate, the highest refresh rate that I can get. And I don't care if it's secondhand. I hate spending money. That said, I am really interested in what the RX480 custom boards will offer. Will they be cheaper? Will we be able to get a lot of overclocking out of them? If we can get a load of overclocking out of them, then the RX480 might be able to smash possibly up to the 980. That's what we're trying to get to. We're trying to get this value card up to the performance of a 980 if we can. But at the moment, the reference designs, they don't have that ability. It is, however, the best new value brand new card I've ever seen for 1080p and possibly 1440p gaming. Also, guys, in the links below, or in the description below, I've dropped links for Linus Tech Tips and Paul's hardware videos on the RX480 because they are very good at explaining things, and they've got a lot of information there in terms of education, much better than I could do at the moment, so please check them out if you're considering buying an RX480 for alternative opinions and a different way of presenting information. And if you're interested in grabbing yourself an RX480 or any of the other graphics cards that I mentioned, I'll put links in the description to a variety of different websites where you can purchase them, but also different videos that I've done on those cards. Building new computers, building that budget PC for $300, and for those of you wondering, for Star Citizen and for Overwatch, the card pretty much performs identically to a 970 at the moment, and I will tell you if it changes in the future. Please feel free to comment below whether you like the RX480, whether you prefer the 970, whether you're going to buy one, whether you're not going to buy one, wait for a custom board, anything like that, whether you disagree with anything I've said, whether you agree with it, whatever. Tell me what you want me to look at next as well. That really helps me. Also, we have a giveaway for a Drake Dragonfly, possibly multiple Drake Dragonflies throughout the month of July. So all you got to do is comment on any of our videos, pretty much, that we produce during the month of July to be in for a chance for winning that. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. It really does help me. Some people may have been unsubscribed as well during the recent YouTube clean out, so check to see if you're subscribed. And I will see you in the verse.